All right, I'll do my best not to sound melodramatic, and I'll do my best not to sound provocative, but it's gonna provoke some people. It's gonna provoke probably me as well, but whatever. When it comes to time and energy, and especially time, you need to be concerned with if it's worth it or not to you and to your situation. And in that regard, I want to bring forth a quote that I saw the other day from some British World War II veteran, actually. He said something about it wasn't worth it with respect to defeating Nazi Germany in World War II. I'm going to find the exact quote because it's very descriptive and it's very, very important. World War II veteran labels victory over Nazis waste of time and claims migrant crisis proves the UK has gone right downhill. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and turn this into a political podcast and talk about migration, how the UK, according to this guy, has gone downhill. But I've spoken to a lot of Brits about this, and they're all telling me the same thing, that there is a problem with immigration in the UK, and especially uncontrolled illegal immigration. People are arriving on boats. They don't speak English. They don't want to integrate. Some of them commit crimes. Not all, but some of them commit crimes. Some of them defraud the system. I heard something wild about the UK even putting them in 5-star hotels. Maybe that's just a rumor, but whatever. Pretty crazy. Meanwhile, you have farmers who struggle to make ends meet. I actually heard another British politician talk about this the other day. You have farmers who struggle to make ends meet financially, and so they can't run their farm anymore, and they want to commit suicide, which is terrible. It's horrible. I mean, we need the farmers. Every single country in the world needs their farmers. They can't commit suicide because somebody needs to run their farms. Anyway, let me get back to the point here. In life, you have to consider what is worth your time or not. I actually heard a different story. I don't remember the story in full detail, but it was something along the lines of some Norwegian World War II veteran actually married a British woman, and they settled down in the UK after the war, I believe. And then as times changed and he became older and older, and he needed care, he couldn't get care. And because, even though he was married to a British woman, and I also think they had kids together, I don't really know, but he hadn't done his paperwork properly, so he was not a British citizen. He was probably eligible for British citizenship, I believe, but he was not yet a British citizen. So, what did they do? Well, because it was a legal resident, I assume, they just stuffed in on some trolley, in some corridor, in some worn down hospital and retirement home, instead of taking properly care of him. A man who'd sacrificed his life. Pretty crazy and pretty wild. And those are the stories that I'm hearing as well. How the World War II veterans who now, well, some of them, I don't know how many of them are still alive, but those who are still alive are very, very old today, and they need care. They need to be taken care of. And some of them don't even get that care, which is insane and crazy. And once again, I'm not going to go into a deep dive on the political situation in the world around us, because number one, it's just depressing. Number two, it just aggravates me. Number three, that is not worth my time either, because it ties into what I was just talking about. Find out what's worth your time. To me, it's certainly not worth my time. In fact, maybe I'm gonna air my thoughts out loud now with respect to what is worth my time, because I went one full year without consuming the news because I simply didn't want to. I figured that if I didn't consume the news, at the very least, I would be happy and unbeknownst about all the madness, all the nonsense that was going on. And irrespective which political side of the spectrum you're on, the right or the left, there's always going to be some retards on both sides, either way. And the media is going to pick the most extreme cases. They're going to write about the most extreme and violent, aberrant people, and they're going to make you feel dumb or make you feel good. They're not going to write the truth. They're going to exaggerate. They're going to use hyperbole, and they're going to lie. And so that's why I quit watching the news, because I simply didn't want to. Now, I took 1 year sabbatical. During that 1 year sabbatical, I aggressively started unfollowing anyone in social media who started writing about the news, who quoted anything about the news, and who just couldn't stop talking about politics. Now, that proved to some degree successful, partially because, well, number one, I didn't have to wonder what these stupid ass newspapers would write this time around, and number two, I actually could curate my reality a wee bit by cutting off the people who couldn't do anything else but talking about the news. Now, since I'm not going to go into details, obviously, because this is a private matter, but because I have, let's just say, because I'm doing certain things, I have a vested interest in knowing how the world moves, especially with respect to finances. I have a vested interest in knowing what the finances are telling me, the financial news. And because the financial news, regrettably, are tied to politics and to movements around the world, let's say if there is a war, that's going to affect the price of military equipment or military equipment manufacturers, oil, gas, all that sort of thing. All those sorts of things, I mean. So I do have a vested interest in knowing what goes on in the world, regrettably. So I just have to bite the bullet, I guess, bite my tongue and read through the news a little bit. And so in that respect, it is worth my time, but it is not worth my time scrolling through the news, consuming all the minutiae, all the little details, getting worked up over some idiot journalists, because they're all idiots. I don't think I've read a single influencing or a single useful piece of so-called journalism ever. Because all they do is lie, use hyperbole, exaggerate, making you want to be worked up. In fact, somebody said this once. I think it was somebody who worked for CNN. They said something about them not being news distributors. They're opinion makers. They want to shape your opinion by writing stuff and by omitting stuff that doesn't suit their narrative. Oh, here we go. I sound like a fucking political pundit again. I didn't want to do that, but whatever. And this is my point here. Find out what is worth your time. If you're in the military and you're in the trench and you know that your country is going to go right downhill after you win this battle, is it still worth to fight for it? I would say no. Now, that does not mean that I discourage people from entering the military, because every country needs a military. I mean, just look at the world. The world right now proves that. However, think about it. If you know that your country is shit, is it worth to sacrifice your life for it? Really? Honestly? Just ask yourself this. Is it worth it? I would say no. But then again, that's just me. There's no honor or glory to die in a ditch, to die in a trench. But whatever. Any country needs a military, and I'm not opposed to that. Now, I'll mind myself of going in any direction here, because if I do, I'm just going to go down the deepest of rabbit holes, and that's not in my interest. But essentially, finding out what's worth your time or not is of the essence. And cutting out that or those who aren't worth your time either is of the essence. So if anything, I'll leave you with that. Cut out the eliminations, the distractions. Cut off the eliminations. That doesn't make any sense. Eliminate the distractions. Cut them out. The time and energy vampires. Both the human and the non-human energy vampires. If you want to learn more about how to do so, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description, actually, wherever you are watching or listening to this. And I will talk to you there.